All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the official launch of Law Day. This is a virtual launch event with the ABA. My name is Nick Capodice. I'm thrilled to be here, helping to host the panel today to launch Law Day 2025. Just quickly, for those who don't know me, which I imagine is pretty much all of you, I host a show called Civics 101. It's a public radio national podcast about the basics of how our government works. And we are thrilled. We were honored to be the winners of the Silver Gavel Award from the ABA in 2022 for a series on landmark Supreme Court cases. So I'm thrilled to work with the ABA. I'm always thrilled to do anything when it comes to, the rule of law or to events that you folks work on. Today is a very special event. It's the beginning of, Law Day, which is going to be May 1st. Which we all know Law Day is May 1st. And the theme this year is the Constitution's promise out of many one. We're going to be talking about that today. That phrase out of many one is also known as, e pluribus unum. That's the Latin phrase my father taught me on a coin when I was a kid. And I thought it was the national motto of the United States. But it's not. It's always been the de facto motto of the United States. Our national motto was not established until 1956 when President Eisenhower declared "In God We Trust" as the national motto of the United States. But it's great to be in front of a room of people who, when I say something is the de facto model, they know what that means. So it's not usually common in the podcast world. So what today is going to be, we're going to have a discussion about that theme. We're going to be doing that with Bill Bay and Tommy Preston. We're going to be chatting about a few things about the theme this year, and I want to introduce them quickly before we begin. And then after our conversation, we're going to have some program spotlights to talk about some of the wonderful stuff going on this year to celebrate Law Day. So without further ado, let me introduce the two, the gentlemen of the hour. First off, Bill Bay, William Bay. He's the president of the American Bar Association. He is also a partner of the St. Louis office of the national law firm Thompson Coburn LLP. He's the longtime leader of the American Bar Association. Bill Bay co-chaired the Practice Forward initiative, which addressed member concerns regarding the COVID-19 pandemic and the future of the profession. Bay also served as the chair of the House of Delegates from 2018 to 2020, and from 2012 to 2013 chaired the section of litigation. So, Bill, lovely to have you here today.
Good to be here.
Very excited. Good to be here as well. And Tommy Preston. Tommy Preston is the National Law Day Chair this year. Hello, Tommy.
Hi, Nick. Good to see you.
Hi, it's good to see you too. Tommy is the Global Chief Talent Officer and VP of Global Talent Development and Employee Experience at Boeing, among many other things. Your bios were delightful and thorough, and I wish I could read the whole thing. Are you two interested in beginning, to have a little chat about this year's theme? I think my first question is for you, Bill. The Law Day theme this year is the Constitution's promise out of many one. How did you settle on that theme?
Well, it's an interesting story. It's a phrase I learned in 8th grade. It's one of the few things I remember from 8th grade, just to be honest. And Tommy and I spent a lot of time talking because I just love to get with people and talk about where we need to be. The phrase comes really from the Latin phrase, as you said, e pluribus unum. It means out of many one. The phrase was first used, it looks like in the very early days of our country, maybe 1776, I don't know for sure, but it's the official motto of the U.S., as you said. It appears on the Great Seal of the U.S. and U.S. currency. And it basically means we brought one great country out of 13 colonies that had many differences. It reflected a belief that we could work together. That was the promise of our Constitution, which has really stood the test of time. I think, and Tommy and I talk, we can learn great lessons from what they did then. They had significant differences, but they put them aside to form one country to be governed by one constitution. It wasn't easy, but they did it. These days, we spend so much time talking about what divides us. I believe this is the time to focus on what unites us. It's hard work, but it's important work. And that's why we chose this theme for this time.
Yeah, it's a wonderful theme. Coming to this after the Articles of Confederation, sort of our first failed constitution, which was a firm league of friendship. This sort of idea of uniting all the colonies together, who had different currencies, they had different governments, they had different everything. But this uniting theme is one that resonates, with us in the civics world as well. It just serves as a follow-up, Bill. speaking of Law Day, why are we doing this? Why is it important that we commemorate Law Day every year?
Well, it's an important annual commemoration held on May 1st. It celebrates the rule of law and cultivates or seeks to cultivate a deeper understanding of our legal system. It's not as old as the Constitution. It was originally envisioned in 1957 when the American Bar President proposed a special day for celebrating our legal system and profession. And then the very next year, Law Day was first recognized in 1958 when President Dwight D. Eisenhower established a National Day of Recognition for the rule of law. 60 years later, it continues to be a moment each year for the legal profession and really all Americans to come together to discuss our Constitution, the ways that unite us. It's really a tradition that is endured, and it's a good one.
And Tommy, thrilled that you're joining us today. Speaking of, e pluribus unum, or out of many comes one. Presidents, from administration to administration, they evoke this idea of a shared American spirit, or they speak of common ideals. So what do you think are these common ideals and values that bind us together, that make us a unum, as it were?
Yeah. Hey, Nick, before I answer that question, just want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today and lead this discussion, and certainly thank all the participants who are on today who care about this theme and care about integrating Law Day into your communities around the country. I love the question. First of all, I think about now that we are on our 47th president, and every president has been so different throughout our history, but the presidency itself, and certainly the theme that we're discussing today, really centers us around what does it mean to be an American citizen, and what are those ideals that bind us together as a country. And we're going to be celebrating 250 years as a nation next year, and this really was a grand experiment that many thought may not exist. And while we're not perfect, there are some key ideals that really has allowed us to continue to grow and prosper over the years. And those ideals are democracy and liberty and justice and opportunity and equality, and others certainly. But when I think about the ABA's mission, when I think about this theme, it really are those qualities that make us the country that we are, and those ideals that we try to uphold on a day-to-day basis. And I think we all agree, by no means are we perfect, but man, how lucky and blessed are we to be able to live in a country that strives every day to uphold those values.
I have like a follow-up to that, because you mentioned 250 years. Here we are, 250 years in, also looking at the length of the Constitution. Like, looking at that broad scope, Tommy, are there any particular moments in U.S. history that inspire you and the work, specifically the work that you're doing with the ABA?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many to think of, but one of the things I loved when Bill and I started talking about this theme is it really is centered around our people, American citizens, like that. The average American citizen who is just going about their daily lives, trying to be the best that they can be and raise their families and serve their communities. But at the same time, there are moments in our history that call upon them to do extraordinary things as well. And, thinking about that question, I think about those hidden figures who helped us, reach the moon all those years ago, or the civil rights movement, where ordinary citizens just stood up and said that we want to be a country that is better than that moment of time. Or even my company, I work for the Boeing company, as you mentioned, Nick, and I think about during World War II, when our servicemen were abroad fighting with our allies, who was keeping the American economy running, and who was building those products that were helping our servicemen during that time. And it was women working in manufacturing facilities, building fighter airplanes that help support our troops. And it's those ordinary people who are just trying to do the best job that they can to uphold our values as a country. And it's those people who are ultimately the spirit of this entire thing. Those people collectively coming together to make our country even better, on a day-to-day basis.
Let me say, and I mean, I just think it's so vivid. Ordinary people doing ordinary things together brings extraordinary results. That's just, I don't want to ever lose sight of that. Okay.
Yeah.
No, like just to jump onto that too. I mean, the word civic and city and citizen, they all have the same root, which is civis, which means just very simply a person in the town. It's a very old word. Not necessarily a judge or a president or a person with power. It is a person in a town. Your community, whatever you do to your community, that is citizenship. That is power, and that, ordinary people making this country work. So I really appreciate that idea. The last question for you, Bill, is, talking about the Constitution in particular, the Constitution's promise. How does the Constitution, through out of many one, how does that protect and enshrine our democratic norms?
Well, I think the Constitution is enduring. It's endearing too, but let's say it's enduring. It's enduring for centuries, for our third century. It's outlined the basis of our democracy. The concept of out of many one, and this Law Day 2025 theme encourages every community to identify the ways the Constitution's framework brings us together and enshrines our democratic norms. How it furthers our American ideals and values, whether it be through military service, which many do, responses to national disasters, welcoming new members to your community, or encouraging a plethora of voices and viewpoints. The American Bar Association has been around for nearly 150 years as the home for America's lawyers. One of the main principles we stand for is the rule of law. That means we're a country of laws and we follow our Constitution. Over the years, we've changed and evolved, but we do it consistent with our laws and Constitution. And that's why it's so important that we understand the Constitution and our democracy and how it works. It's why we have a judicial system. And as a profession, for example, we speak for them when they cannot. Standing for the rule of law is part of the oath our members took when we became lawyers. The rule of law is more important than our differences. It's more important than whatever political party you're a member of, or where you live, or what you do. It's what's required to fulfill the Constitution's promise that out of many we can be one. And that's why it's so important what each of you who are going to do to participate and lead in our celebration of Law Day and the Constitution's promise out of many one. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for talking about this theme this year. It's one that's near and dear to my heart, as is the idea of the rule of law. It's something that I never get tired of thinking about. So thank you both.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate the time to be with you.
Good to be with you too. So we have some other programs that we're going to be introducing that I hope you folks, can be interested in looking into to see what's going on to get ready for May 1st. First, we're going to be hearing from David Zimmerman. This is a program with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of Kansas in Wichita. David Zimmerman, are you? Oh, there you are. Hello, David. So the Bankruptcy Court for the District of Kansas in Wichita, they opened the Bankruptcy Court as a public space in the federal judiciary. They lead public programs for students and anyone else. I love the theme. I was reading it this morning. The court is open to you. What a tremendous theme. So David, welcome. Thrilled to have you tell us about the program.
Good afternoon. I am so pleased to share with you how the Bankruptcy Court for the District of Kansas celebrates Law Day, as well as some of the success stories we've already enjoyed as a result of our Law Day programs. And I'm going to share some images here so you can kind of follow along. Is that displaying for you?
I'm not entirely sure.
How about
Oh,
now?
there we go.
Okay, great. Our court has hosted a Law Day program each year since 2022, and we focus on high school and college-age students. These are young people that are making life-changing decisions about what they want to do with their life, and who they want to be. And to help them, we introduce some of the careers that are available in the federal courts and in the law. And we also introduce them to outstanding, service-minded professionals who can inspire them to see the potential in their own lives. And this is how we do that. We bring students who attend in person into a beautiful, historic federal courtroom. Students who are too far away to travel have the option to participate by Zoom, so we're able to invite schools across the entire state of Kansas to join if they'd like. While we're starting the program, we briefly introduce the wide range of careers that exist in the federal judiciary. Those range from the obvious ones like judge and lawyer, courtroom deputy and courtroom reporter, to those who work behind the scenes like a case administrator, IT specialist, and even a procurement specialist for those who like shopping. And next, we show the students an example of a highly accomplished, service-minded leader to inspire them to imagine the kind of impact they can make during their life. We do that by presenting the Judge Julie A. Robinson Award for Outstanding Community Leadership. Judge Robinson was a groundbreaking judge here in our district. And we introduce the students to that year's recipient and describe the positive influence that recipient has had on the world. It's really quite inspiring and moving. Then we present a mock trial program. And we make the mock trial program highly interactive by putting the audience members into groups of 8 to 10 students, and each group is a jury that renders its own verdict. We have a wonderful partnership with Professor Lynette Lockhart, who's down here in the bottom right, and she's from the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And the undergraduate program mock trial team that she coaches. These college students do a fantastic job of demonstrating what a trial would look like. They present opening arguments, call witnesses, introduce documentary evidence and raise objections, and present closing arguments. And we have a federal judge who's sitting as the mock trial judge, and the judge issues jury instructions and gives each group a verdict form. And then we ask the high school students in the audience to deliberate as if they were the jurors. And after a few minutes, the foreperson for each group of jurors announces that group's verdict and how they came to their decision. So let me turn my view off here, stop sharing. Did that stop? I hope it stopped. There we go. And then one of the highlights, after they've rendered their verdict, one of the highlights of the program is the question and answer session at the end. And we have been so lucky to have several federal district court judges, federal magistrate judges, and federal bankruptcy judges attend each of our programs. And the students in the audience are amazingly animated and ask great questions, and our judges really enjoy interacting with them. To wrap this up, I'm going to share the most satisfying part of our Law Day program, which is the real world impact that we've already seen among the students who have attended. I've got a couple of quick examples. During the first Law Day program, we had 2 of the university mock trial team members who expressed an interest in working for the court. And we ended up hiring each of them to work for a few months. And they did a great job and helped our court with their respective projects and gave them an opportunity to meet other people in the judiciary, make some connections that way. One of them is now graduating from law school and is applying for admission to the bar. And then we also had one of the high school students in the audience during a different Law Day program who was so excited, so animated by the mock trial program that she decided that she would attend the University of Missouri, Kansas City, joined the mock trial team, and is on her way this month to compete with her teammates in the open regional championship series against other undergraduate teams across the country. And so, again, we're starting to see some of the real world impact that we've had on those who have come to help us present Law Day and who have attended. We look forward to seeing them accomplish great things. Here in our court, we love Law Day and the opportunity it gives us to celebrate the essential role that our legal system plays in the United States. We love the opportunity we have to invite bright, energetic young people to be a part of it and let them know you are welcome in the federal judiciary. Thanks so much for the chance to talk today.
Thank you so much, David. I was deeply moved by that. I have no doubt in my mind that the lives are changed by people who attend programs like that. For me, anything that lifts the veil between, the public, we, and, the court system or the judiciary it's like manna to me. It's the most important thing. So thank you so much for the work. Next, we're going to be hearing from the Rhode Island Bar Association. We have the Rhode Island Bar Association President, Christopher Gontars, Communications Director, Aaron Cute, and Programs Coordinator, Allison Baker. The Rhode Island Bar Association organizes a lawyer and judge in the classroom program across the state. So the court goes to the classroom in a way. They also host public programs and an annual essay contest. So my friends from the Rhode Island Bar Association, have at it. We're glad to have you here today. We'd love to hear about your Law Day programs.
Thank you. I'm Chris Gontars, and I'm the president of the Rhode Island Bar Association. We're honored here today to share the insights that the Rhode Island's Law Day program and the impact it has on the students statewide. Now, Rhode Island traditionally has always celebrated Law Day on the first day of May, and as was previously mentioned, it was the National Day of Observance established by President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1958. Now, it's an opportunity for the Rhode Island Bar and the judiciary to recognize the rule of law and its role in shaping American democracy. Rhode Island Law Day is a true collaboration between the Bar Association and the judiciary. I've been participating in the program for the last 25 years. My first appearance was with then a brand new Associate Justice of the Rhode Island Supreme Court, Paul Sattel, who has now been the Chief Justice for the last 15 years. And the judges have an awful lot to do and say about what transpires in these lectures. And the members of the bar compliment the judges in this presentation. Now, what I would like to also stress is that these programs, and you're going to hear about the breadth of the programs, even though Rhode Island's a very small state, you'll hear about the breadth of the program. And that is due to the tremendous work of my colleagues and the staff here at the Rhode Island Bar Association. And that is, Aaron Cute is the Director of Communications, who leads the coordination and expansion of the Law Day efforts, and Allison Baker, who's the program's coordinator and who ensures that the smooth execution of the expansive programs. So here they are.
Thank you so much, Chris. The Rhode Island Bar Association has proudly participated in Law Day since the 1980s. What started with just a few volunteers has grown into a statewide program, reaching thousands of students, teachers, judges, and lawyers every May. Each year, our program follows the ABA's national theme, ensuring that students engaged in timely and meaningful discussions about law and civic participation. Rhode Island Law Day, like I said, has grown into a truly impactful program, and to share more about how our program works and the impact it has on students, Allie's gonna share a little bit more.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. Each year, the Rhode Island Law Day brings the entire legal community into classrooms across the state. And our primary purpose is to help students understand the role of law, not just generally, but how it really touches their everyday lives. This year's theme particularly really hits home. The Constitution's promise, out of many one, highlights the strength of our nation's diversity and the shared values that truly unite all of us. To make these lessons very much engaging, teams of judges and lawyers visit middle and high school students throughout the state. These include public, private, parochial, and charter schools. And we really make an effort to try to deliver interactive presentations in grades 7 through 12. The program has grown well beyond just the original attorney and judge teams. Many of the judges now are bringing in other legal professionals like their law clerks, and school resource officers are oftentimes present so that students can see the breadth of the legal community. Over the past years, our staff has really taken an active role to try to develop a program guide in addition to companion PowerPoint presentations. While we incorporate materials from the ABA, we also do our best to provide sample case law and discussion prompts and interactive activities to keep the students engaged and interested and really part of the program. This year, we are extremely proud to be delivering 82 classroom programs to across 42 schools. Those encompass a very diverse student population, which also includes multi-language learners and students with special needs. Beyond classroom visits, we also offer limited courthouse programs, giving select schools the opportunities to observe the judicial system in action. We have consistently received positive feedback, not only from our volunteers and students, but also from our judges as well. Students especially love to take part in the question and answers. Sometimes they deviate a little bit from the theme, but they get the opportunity to ask about legal careers, the justice system, and how the law applies to their everyday lives. And that's really when you know you've reached the student, which is wonderful. These discussions spark curiosity, civic engagement, and a deeper appreciation for the role of law. And that civic engagement is what we are really honing in on this year, particularly to bring everyone together as one. Everyone has a voice, and they need to know that each student matters.
Exactly. Thank you, Ally. Another exciting part of our Law Day program is our essay contest, which is open to 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students across Rhode Island. The contest is also truly a collaborative effort. The Rhode Island Bar Association also partners with the Rhode Island Judiciary to promote and facilitate the contest, as well as the Rhode Island Bar Association, the Rhode Island Foundation, the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association, and Family Law in Support generously fund these scholastic awards that are given to the students. The one law school in our state, Roger Williams University School of Law, carefully reviews all of the submissions and selects the winners each year. Each year, we recognize 3 outstanding students. The first place winner receives a $2,000 scholastic award, an engraved trophy cup, and their school gets to display our traveling Law Day trophy, which is always joked about and compared to the Stanley Cup with the school's name on it, and they get to display it until the next contest. To celebrate all of the winners' achievements, we hold a special award ceremony in June, typically at a courthouse within the state. And the winners are honored in front of their teachers, parents, members of the Law Day Committee, and representatives of the judiciary. The ceremony not only recognizes students' hard work, but also reinforces civic education and legal awareness. Thank you so much for having us a part of this program today. We are thrilled to once again participate in Law Day, and we hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Allison. Thank you to the Rhode Island Bar Association. The last group who is going to be sharing some wonderful programming this year is Law Day Yosemite. We are being joined today by U.S. Magistrate Judge Helena Barch-Kufta. who is going to tell us about the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. And the National Park Service truly celebrates their place on Law Day. This district includes nearby Yosemite National Park, and for more than 10 years, they have hosted public programs about the rule of law for students. So, Magistrate Judge, please go ahead, tell us what's going on for this year's Law Day.
All right, thank you. And first, I want to also extend my appreciation for inviting me and having the opportunity to share how we celebrate Law Day. It's actually the Eastern District of California that I'm a part of. I actually sit in Yosemite. I sit in our national park. There are 2 magistrate judges who sit in the national parks, myself, and in Yellowstone, we have a magistrate judge who sits there. So how the Eastern District of California celebrates Law Day is in conjunction with the San Juan Key chapter of the Federal Bar Association. We invite everyone to Yosemite. And we have focused on 8th graders in particular, and we invite the 10 surrounding schools nearest to Yosemite to come into the park to explore the majesty of law within the majestic granite walls of Yosemite. So I'm going to also share my screen too. We start this program actually 6 months prior to Law Day. We send out a, okay, see if we can get that. We send out an, I'm hoping you're able to see that. We send out a Evite, save the date card to everyone. About 6 months prior to the event. We invite all the federal judges from the Eastern District, come in from Sacramento, Redding, up from Bakersfield, from Fresno, as well as the state court judges come in from the surrounding communities. We also invite the district attorneys from the local areas to come in. We have approximately 350 students who participate from the 8th grades that surround the park. We send out a theme or a prompt to the schools in January as well. They incorporate the theme in their civics programs during the school year. Sometimes they'll have speakers come in, they'll have judges sometimes come in, they'll have outside speakers come in. We let the students address the theme each year of their own choosing in any format. And well, it's poetry, they can do a poem, they can do something to music to address the theme. They can do an essay, they can do artwork, or they can do videography or a PowerPoint, something along those lines. And we have approximately about 50 different applications that will come in from various students. And then we have judges that will judge those as well. And we recognize them at Law Day. We have sometimes a keynote speaker. It depends on the theme. Each year we change the theme. The one year we explored the relationship, the Constitution and Changing Times. We explored that in conjunction with the Native American tribal governments. And asked the kids to address it in that context. We invited the local tribes to come into the park. We had the local tribes come in and do a blessing in the park over the students and talk about tribal government. Other years, we've done the decision with the Alanis decision with social media. We held a appellate argument with the federal public defender and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the students were the juries in that when they did it that way. This is, I'm hoping you can see my screen. This is the student sitting with Half Dome in the background. We've done it in Curry Amphitheater. We've also done it in the Meadows, in Tuolumne Meadows. The one year we did buttons. We gave out to the students stickers and buttons that they use. This is in Tuolumne Meadows when we had the tribes come into the park. We have given out vote stickers for the 1 year. So we try to tie the theme in and make it interactive for the kids. All of the kids then go to a luncheon together, and then the judges go in and speak to them while they're having lunch after the program is over. We have the local elementary school opens with the Pledge of Allegiance. So we have the young kids there. And then we also have the Rangers on horses bringing in the colors. This year, we've decided to address the theme. We've asked the kids to address the theme with regards to how we wanted it to be positive this year. We didn't want it to be divisive. So we asked them how collectively, when in history has people come together for the betterment of the country. This year we're having a speaker who's coming in. He's known as the voice of the Bulldogs, the Fresno Bulldogs, and he's going to be speaking because he works with the veterans group. So we've invited the veterans to come into the park as well this year, and they'll be speaking as well to the students and talking to them, and we'll have the different colors up. We'll also have some representatives from the various branches of the military here to also talk to the kids about the military. So we try to expose them to the theme at an early stage through their classroom, and then we carry it into the park. And the kids love coming to the park. And it gives them an opportunity afterwards to go on a short hike before they get on their buses to go back home. So it's been a very interactive program, and we get approximately 500 people. We've been doing it for 13 years. So this is our 13th year that we're celebrating. So, and it gets bigger every year. So that's why it needs to be planned so far in advance. And there's a real team that works on it. So we have the full support of the National Park Service as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any questions, and I'm happy to share any materials from our past years or our current years if anybody wants any materials.
Yeah, and just as a note to everybody, you could write your questions here, but we're also, after the webinar, we're going to be sending out an email with follow-up, emails for anybody. If you have questions about any of these programs, how you can get involved, everybody is going to be reachable after this. So thank you so much, Judge Barsh. Thank you so much. I think we're just about done for today. Everybody mark your calendars for May 1st. And I first off want to thank the program partners for joining us today. All of you who came and talked about what you're doing, that's massive. A huge thank you to Bill Bay and Tommy Preston. Thank you to the both of you for coming up with the theme and for talking about the theme. It's a really good one. And most importantly, thanks to all of you who attended today. I see some things in the Q&A, but I will. Okay, we have two questions. Julie Strandy wrote about the lesson plan is particularly timely. I judge we the people, and this was the center of the question for Unit 5 high school state finals. That was talking about if I'm not mistaken, might have been the Rhode Island Bar Association. And Martha Madden, hello, Martha, would like to hear about the arts contest the Yosemite person spoke of. So absolutely, Martha, I encourage you to reach out to Judge Coft after this. She'd love to tell you about it. There's one more program that I've got to give it a little quick shout out before we say goodbye today. Civics 101, the show that I work for, we're hosting a live podcast. We've only do this a couple times in our whole history. We're doing a live show about the rule of law. It's going to be at the Moakley Courthouse. It's going to be on April 11th, the 411. We have spoken to a district court judge. We're speaking to some former district and circuit court judges and some folks who work with the Abota Foundation, among other places. So if you're in Boston on the 11th, swing on by to the city of the salt and the cod, and we'll have a nice chat about the rule of law. It should be a good time. Oh, thank you so much, Tiffany, for putting that in there. So details again on everything we talked about today is going to be in a post program that's going to come out to you through, and on Zoom in the notes as well. You can visit lawday.org for all of your planning resources to get ready for May 1st. So good planning, and thank you all so much for coming today. Oh, yes, thanks. Links to all this and the email that's coming later this week. So, oh, I see a raised hand. See a thumbs up. Okay, so we are at just the right amount of time. Thanks again for attending, and have a lovely afternoon.